Welcome everybody. Round of applause. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So we're here, SpeakuP Monday, episode number 476. So tonight is an episode which has been coming together for the last 3 months. And for those of you in Bali know about the property market here, we've had a lot of property gurus on the show, property companies, real estate developers, buyers, investors, and so on. And over the past number of months, we've had so much go on here from massive developments, the director being put in jail. We've had a moratorium or basically an opportunity for the local government to start to really look at how much development is going on here in Bali. We have people here who believe it's way overdeveloped. We have people here who say it's underdeveloped. We have people here which say the vacancy rate has shot right down into the ground. There are those who say, well, not in this sector. In other sectors, the vacancy rate is very high. But in all of this, what I haven't heard really is, well, what is an Indonesian perspective of this? Because I'm an expat, my wife is Indonesian, so I guess I'm halfway there, but what is and what does Balinese people think of the property market, how we behave here? How do those Indonesians that are not born in Bali but who've been living here for many years, how do they feel about what's happening here in the property market? So today is an opportunity for 3 people that I love and respect, know them all, to speak their truth. And again, if some of us can walk out of here with an understanding of something that we didn't see before, and maybe we'll correct the way that we do things, then it's been a total success. If you walk out of here with some great new connections with the audience of people that you've just heard on the microphone, if you're here in person, you'll know what I'm talking about, and you leave with a new business partner or colleague, it's been a success. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take some time to introduce our guests, and then after that we're going to run into the show. So, deep breath. So let's start off with Sari over here, right next to me, Managing Director of Malekat Hukum. Okay, so on this sheet I didn't get the bios. So what we're going to do to change things up is that first we're going to ask you to maybe introduce yourself. All right, and also with you, your father has been an incredible figure in not only your life but the conversation that we have today.
Hello everyone, my name is Sari. I'm from Bali. Actually, I'm from this area. I'm so happy to be able to talk to this audience tonight because this subject is actually close to my heart. My late father was a Balinese professor in architecture, and my mother is actually a law professor. She's still alive. So real estate and building design has been in my DNA. I mean, I grew up with actually in building sites too. So I have seen the Balinese market from just the rice field up to now. So I have seen the boom and the boom and the bust and the boom. So I could reassure you that the future is bright if we want to create a legacy in investment. So when you come to Bali, let's create something different. Why you come in Bali in the first place is to respect the culture, enjoy the Balinese. I think there is more to it in Bali. And I also want to say, when you say Bali, I think we need to differentiate Bali and the south of Bali. Because I would say if Bali is UK, then the south of Bali is London. Yeah. And then this area is Kensington.
So what we're going to do, we're just on the bio section, we're going to come back to that. That will be the new first question about defining the different areas of Bali. But if we move on to Vigor, so if you pass the microphone to Vigor, so Vigor, maybe if you explain a little bit about yourself from coming into Bali, the leather business that you had, the car dealership, and what you're doing now in terms of your family investments and the land banking.
Okay, thanks, Robert. Hi, good evening, everyone. So let me introduce myself. My name is Vigor. I came from Bandung. Yeah, you know Jakarta, so Bandung is near Jakarta. I came to Bali in 1986, so I have been 39 years in Bali. I came when I was a little bit younger. Okay, so I start my first business with leather. I am leather supplier until now. So also we produce leather goods. And I married with a beautiful Balinese girl. And I start my car business 1990, automotive business. I start import the big motorcycle like Harley Davidson, Honda Goldwing, BMW, and so on. 1990. So I built the community, big bikes community. If you know, I'm IMBI, Pak Terje, he knows, Ikatan Motor Besar Indonesia. So I built the community of big bikes, big motorcycles community in Bali since 1990. I was the supplier. I'm the trader. I import, I sell to my friends. We build the community. And then 1994, I start my car business. I was authorized main dealer for Jeep brand from America, if you know Jeep, Rubicon, Grand Cherokee, something like that. And also starting 1998, I start to import completely built up cars, CBU cars, until 2 years ago I closed. 2007 I start to sell high-end brands. If you know Ferrari, Lamborghini, Rolls-Royce, McLaren, something like that. I sold that kind of things. But 2 years ago I closed. I'm getting older. I feel tired with that kind of business. So luckily, since I was young, since 1990, I think I start to invest in land. I love to invest in land. I am a land banker. Yeah, I have some pieces of freehold land. So that's my habit, my hobby. So now I start as a developer.
And you're looking after your family business. So what's the name of the company that you hold the land underneath?
The land? Waluya Development. So we have some projects we build only on our own freehold land. Yeah, so also if you guys interested to invest to JV, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So to you, Christian, if you pass the microphone.
Good day, guys. Hopefully this rain is not going to make a change of your spirit to understand more about properties. Everyone here is really have beautiful backgrounds. Me, I'm still a young person who's I actually created my background is in finance and business developments. So for me, when I see the properties, I understand the properties in Bali since 1 year ago, when one of the property developer in Bali called Alex Villas is actually asking me to join them, and I start my journey there. For me, understanding the properties mostly about I will understand using my financial knowledge, which is it's based on numbers, and I'm mostly a very number person. So what I hope from what my knowledge is, after you guys come here, we can actually you guys can have a better understanding about the situation in real estate, not misleading information on terms of the return of investments as well, and on so on. And also hopefully we can actually have a better understanding in terms of the business on the Airbnb sectors as well, if anybody here actually looking for business in Airbnb, because more and more peoples in whoever came here and want to be investors, and then they would like to have a Airbnb for their business and manage everything. So that's about me. And right now I'm working in the agency, NF. So if you guys actually have any things to want to talk about the land or everything regarding the properties, please let me know, and I'm actually very open for discuss. Thank you.
Great. So just, I guess, to clarify a few things. So Christian, so the owner of Elite Havens set up NF. Right, so Elite Havens is a massive, successful business here for many years. I think many of you would know what Elite Havens is. Please feel free to grab a seat. Yeah, over here on the bench is fine. So Christian is an analyst, all right? So property analyst. He's data driven. So a lot of people will come with emotion about what they believe you should do, whereas Christian, one of his superpowers is that he's able to give you data. And data is very powerful, obviously, because it's not a bias. It is what it is, and you then make the best decision you can from that point. When it comes to Vigor, so as you mentioned, successful business guy, and been in Bali for a long time, from Jakarta, married to a Balinese lady, and with Vigor now, his life is about with the land that he has, called land banking, when you basically buy land early on, maybe from the 1990s, as he mentioned. Now that land is appreciated in value, and now it's getting to the point where Vigor's saying, well, what can I do with this land? Yeah. So if I want to develop it, what kind of development do I want to do? If I want to do a JV, a joint venture, what kind of joint venture partner do I want? Right. So tonight, part of this conversation was inspired by a conversation actually, which I had with Vigor, where I introduced him to two friends and expats as potential JV partners. That one didn't work out, but in going through that process, there's things that I recognized and realized that as an expat, which I am, there's certain things that we do wrong without even realizing we're doing something wrong, which can be misinterpreted. So part of this conversation is actually more of an education, things that I messed up, right? That hopefully you don't need to have that opportunity to waste time like I have, right? So that's part of it. And obviously now when it comes to Sari, again, a powerhouse of a lady. She's been on the show 3 or 4 times. We work together in different professional ways. But again, the fact that she is a powerful Balinese lady who has a very successful law firm, whose father was intimately connected with Bali, how many of us view Bali or viewed Bali, depending on our way of thinking, and then also has this amazing opportunity, because she lived overseas, to also kind of bring in that international way of seeing, which a lot of people here are from international places. So to bring that in and to combine that with Bali makes a very powerful lady. So I'm very happy that you're here to join us as well in this conversation.
Robert,
yes.
can you ask a question, please?
Yeah, let's get started. Thank you. So a few key takeaways, and we'll come back to you. Should land ownership in Bali always remain with the Balinese? That's one of the takeaways. Another one is deal structuring with local landowners, cultural respect or commercial risk. How do you weigh those two things up? In Bali being overdeveloped or misunderstood, what is the view from the ground? So these are 3 questions, including a question that we're going to go to in a minute. But just to start us off, so Sari, you started to talk about Bali and that there's different parts of Bali. So if we can maybe have that description from you first, and then we'll go to Christian, who will give us kind of like a snapshot of Bali from a data-driven point of view.
Yeah. So the question is whether the Bali should ownership of the land in Bali own.
Well, you started off by saying that Bali is like London, remember? So let's go to that.
Okay, I think we need to distinguish Bali as UK, because I have lived in the UK for decades. So I would say the Badung is London, and this area maybe Kensington. So there is other part of the UK which is still tundra, like the Scotland area and the Hebrides. So that will be the Karangasem area and also the West Bali. So if we see it like that, Bali, then we can build in Bali and spread this prosperity, not only in the south, but there is other area. If you want to see the real Bali, like the East Bali, where you see the river is still clear, and also the culture is still there, not only in Ubud or Brawa, but also all over Bali. Now, my father is an architect, so he's also one of the founder of Architect Association Indonesia. He's as old as Indonesia, 1945. So I have seen many development. So my passion is, when you build in Bali, please respect the integrity of the island. I.e., when you design something, make sure it's connected with the area locally. So the building is not stand out. Part of the problem I see here is the minimalistic. Doesn't have the Balinese touch to it or the philosophy to it, which actually gonna bring its own downfall because those properties not really sold. It's too many of them. So have you built something with a villa feeling or like resort feeling, timeless? People come to Bali for that. I know people have different reasons, but the real people coming to Bali for that. And I'm asking every investor here, when they come to Bali, as I said before, let's make something different, like a legacy. Create a legacy in your investment that can be in bricks, in mortar as well. And don't forget to put the thatch roof and everything. Because I have seen, since I was a kid, I actually grew up in the building site. My feet is full of nails sometimes. My dad took me, I'm supposed to be the boy he never have. So my brother, he was 7 years after me. So there is also not only the design, but also the people working towards it, the local community, the principle of Trihita Karana, how we engage the human, the environment, and the divinity. Because in Bali, we treat our land very sacred. It's actually, I would say, also a spiritual inheritance. It's a portable heart for us. So there is the hak pakai, hak milik, leasehold. That's fine. However, please remember the people that actually grew and see the seed on this land. If you have this harmony with the people or the design or your intention, I can promise you the God and Goddess of Bali will be behind you.
Round of applause. Thank you. That's worth. Thank you very much. So look, what we're going to do now, before we start with the questions, is Christian, as you mentioned, is an analyst here. He worked with one of the biggest developers in Bali. And as I mentioned now, is working as an advisory for one of the most successful real estate companies in Bali. So Christian, if you can give us and the people here, of which we know now, some are new to Bali, some have been here for a long time. So what kind of breakdown can you give us that gives us a good understanding from a data-driven point of view of where we are now?
Okay, thanks Robert for giving this. For me, I will try to give it a very broad understanding about this. Bali, especially Canggu area and area around it, it has been developed for the past 4 years from now, and the price and everything is already been increased, and I think it was all of the best. That's all the best things what's going on, and when people's understanding. Also, they from the first beginning from 2021 for 2022, people's building mostly like villas, 1 to 2 bedrooms villas. I know I understand this because of the people's actually they think it's cheaper investment for only making 1 or 2 villas. With the quality was bare minimum, not actually one of the best quality what you can get. So and it's become developed. People actually start want to buy, and there are many situations in the world actually changing as well. That's why people came to Bali to invest in properties in here, trying to actually getting some getting a place to live, some actually getting a place to actually just for staying, especially during COVID or during, and that's the reason why people came here during that period. And right now, I would say right now the situation is a lot of change because of the success of that bring a lot of more investors, young investors, which is actually they may be rich from from cryptos, from many digitals. And when it become from cryptos, for sure, the risk tolerance is higher because cryptos is pretty high risk and asset, as we know that. And due of that, when it came to that, they don't really make a market research. They don't. When they do invest, the normal things you're supposed to actually stay in Bali, which is for me, I think it's around 8 to 1 years to understand the situation of Bali, to understand what is Bali itself and why people coming to Bali, but they don't. So they actually just think, oh yeah, just based on the belief on the people say about the ROI as well, about the occupancy rate of that, and then that's make the impact on the high ROI. All of those numbers, it's high because of, for example, it's actually, can we say 95% occupancy rate during the 2022, 2023, due to the cheap cost as well. That's the reason is. But right now it's changed. Quarter one, based on rate. It's we actually the occupancy is dropped 16%, especially on the bedroom between in the villas or apartments, which is 1 and 2 villas. 1 and 2 bedroom.
So just to clarify, so what you're saying is that we had this before COVID, where we had this wave of development, and you mentioned the types of people that were coming in, attracted by Bali. Then also COVID, you mentioned that some people displaced, different wars, conflicts going on around the world, came to Bali as well.
Yes.
So you have this upwards pressure on development, which are not necessarily backed by research.
Sure.
Right? So they're just coming in, finding some land and developing. And then you're saying that in 2023 the occupancy rate was around 95%. And then you're saying that now we're sliding in. The vacancy rate between 1 and 2 bedrooms is 16% lower.
16% this quarter, and then it will be follow more because of more and more supply will coming, and when it's everything coming, it will be change the numbers as well. People will have more option to choose. People have more. The competition become harder. If you know, it's basically pretty simple principles. When you have, when the supply is high and the number of tourists is not the demand is not matched, then the price will go down.
So quick question, because I know people here, they're hungry for knowledge as well. So let's call it for what it is. When you drive around Canggu and these areas which are like Canggu in Badung, you see these 25%, 30%, 40% return. Now these buildings have not been built yet. There's 18-month build process to go into. So now these apartments, what you're saying, that have been built over the last 2 or 3 years, 1 year, they're coming to fruition. They're going to be finished. What you're saying then is that as these properties come onto the market in huge numbers in particular areas or pockets in Bali, you've mentioned 1 or 2 already, then that's going to increase the supply dramatically. Now that market is already being affected and impacted by a lower vacancy rate, so that will further deepen that vacancy rate. So in other words, you'll have more properties on the market with a lower command of rent, which gives maybe the person coming in to rent a better selection, because now they can choose between those developer projects which, hey, I can now get a 1-bedroom instead of for this price, I can now get it for this price.
Sure. Yeah. That's the reason why return of investments is actually dropped. Actually, 8 to. I think the realistic for realistic ROI is actually only 8%.
8% return for now. Let's be specific. Is this for 1, 2 bedrooms? Is this for villas? What is this for?
8% for everything. If you want to be very safe, 6 to 8% is actually the numbers you will supposed to get.
Well, so sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you again. I just want people to really get this. So what we're saying then, all right, thank you, thanks very much. So what you're saying then, all right, is that so the people in the street where you see a sign 20%, 30%, 40% return, what you're saying is that in actuality it's closer to 8%.
It is true. I mean, you will get that numbers if the project. I have been doing the research. If it actually you do the projects with eco projects, following the design like Bali style with the combination with Westerners, the number is pretty high. So that numbers, the occupancy rate, I saw like 2 or 3 projects which I cannot say. They already been operate as a hotel right now. They also only fund by one guy, which is private people as well. And then the occupancy rate during this difficult situation is actually 85 to 90% occupancy rate, meaning the ROI for that is pretty high as well. It can be touched 15%, because I'm not saying the number that is not is unable to be achieved, but you need to have a very specific project with a value, with you bring the value of you bring the ecotourism, you understand the market of the people, why people coming to Bali, and then that you will get that numbers for sure. Because at the end of the day, if you understand this, the cost of the construction not going to be that much different than what you actually building this ecotourism projects and things. I think that's what I want to say, because like many people in this industry, because they don't do much research on that, they become misunderstood what is actually it's Bali for. But they change to be like mostly like Mediterranean style, which is white and everything is supposed to be like with a lot of green, with a more combined with the natures. That's something what you will get in return.
Great. Thank you very much for that wrap up. Okay, so we're going to go back to some of our takeaways. So we'll come back. We're going to come to you in a second, Vigor. So back to you, Nilu. So Sari, yes. Yeah. So should land ownership in Bali always remain with the Balinese? That's one question.
Well, not necessarily, because this is Indonesia as a country too. So I would not want to be segregated my own countrymen. Like I'm Balinese, I cannot own the land in Jakarta or Jogja. But I think should be respect and understandings of the local culture and community. And isn't that beautiful, respecting each other? It's like, when they come here, we welcome. And then there is the certain law, hak pakai, hak milik, if we respect that, and then we can involve, we can be, the ownership will be still with the Balinese, but we share this for everyone. Oh, sorry.
Listen, mate, last question. Can listen yeah, okay? Yeah.
It's a proper question. When you say...
You've got to remember, some of these people in the room probably don't know much about land ownership. So when you say something like, should land ownership remain in the hands of Balinese, you've got to remember there's a clear distinction between what's known as freehold in many countries around the world, England, for example, and what is leasehold. So they're quite different things. Actually, leasehold is kind of available to most people. So I think it'd be helpful if the audience could get a distinction between what's what, right? And I'm not trying to bring my girlfriend down here, but I think you just need to be a little bit more specific.
Okay. This is why it's a talk show. Thank you. All right. So just get a raise of hands.
Is this full moon or new moon?
Give me 1 second. So who here is new to real estate? Just quickly, just raise your hands so we have an idea of who's in the room. Raise them high. Raise them high. Yeah. So who here knows the difference between leasehold and freehold? Great. Who here does not know the difference between leasehold and freehold? Okay, so everyone here knows the difference between leasehold and freehold. Okay, so we'll continue. So I think you finished answering that question, which was, should land ownership stay in the hands of Balinese? I think you've answered that question already. Yeah? So if we pass the microphone over to you. So Vigor, a few things. So one was, when you heard Christian go through those numbers and describe Bali's ecosystem or Bali's market, cause I saw you nodding, and agreeing. So out of the things which he mentioned, being that you're land banking looking to develop, what things stand out for you as being important? And then after that, we'll answer that question about should land ownership remain in the hands of the Balinese. Over to you.
Okay, thanks. Actually, what Christian said, that's true. So in this last, about ROI, what we see now, so many developers, official developers, even or private developers, because so many, I use S. So many developers mention about 24-25% ROI, even sometimes more crazy, something like that. But truly to say, since I live in Bali such long time, and I have a lot of friends, Balinese hotel owners and something like that, and also I have a lot of friends as hotel operators. So the hoteliers, they said about ROI, actually the normal one, that is true, between even starting, if 5-star hotel, even 6%. Yeah. So when we talk about 20% ROI, 24% ROI, the hoteliers, the expertise, they will laugh. They're laughing. How? So, truly to say, between 6 up to 12%, that's very good ROI already about hotel business. Yeah. So, and I live in Brawa since 2019. I start I create my project with Joglo, something like that, because that time Brawa still quiet, rice field anywhere. So even I was the pioneer at Gang Mango. If you know Gang Mango, the shortcut to Umalas. So I was the pioneer there. 360, I could not see any roofs. 360, only green. Yeah. And that time it was green zone. So that's why I built with temporary Joglo buildings, yeah, but luckily that we changed the zone, then become pink now. But since pink zone, during COVID, other places, other area was really quiet. Yeah, no people. Yeah, no people. I don't know to mention. So, but in Brawa, still happening. So people live in Brawa, and in Brawa during COVID still alive. Yeah. So since that, Brawa become more famous. Then since after COVID, then suddenly boom. If I see that in these last 2 or 3 years, I think so many developing. Too many developers, new developers who just arrived in Bali, and they destroy Bali. I have been almost 40 years in Bali. She's Balinese. Even his father is architect, the senior one. So the people come to Bali, of course, for the Bali vibes. Why you come to Bali? For the vibes, for the culture, the nature, the garden, open air, and everything, right? But if we can see since these last 2 or 3 years, since wars, Brawa, Canggu, many developers destroy. Yeah, I don't want to mention our brothers from where, but you know what I mean. That they build just a white building. They call ultra luxury, but we are as developer. I know that actually that is the cheapest way to build. Just white building. So how to build? Sorry to say, other architectures abroad bring to Bali. You know what I mean? So they build a European style. I love European architecture. I love any architectures. But if I would like to enjoy Europe, I will fly to Europe. I don't want to see European architecture in Bali, right? Also, all of you guys, I think so. So yeah. Truly to say, these last 2 or 3 years, many developers destroy Bali with they don't care about architecture. They are very sorry to say greedy. They build almost 100% of the footprint of the land. Let's say they build 6R, then they build totally 6R. They don't have any parking. They don't care about parking space. They don't care about garden. Actually, there is we call KDB, coefficient KDB. We can build only 50%. If you have 6R land, you can build only 300s. The 300 should be open air, garden and everything. So that's why, Robert.
Firstly, just want to remind everybody. So I don't count in this conversation. This is about the Bali property market and Indonesian perspective, not an expat one. So the only thing which I asked this wonderful panel was just speak your truth, just be honest. So I really appreciate you, Vigor, for telling it how it is. Thank you. Sari.
I want to share Vigor's sentiment here about Balinese architecture is not being included, and a lot of building with arches. And maybe townhouse.
Beautiful.
Beautiful
in
and
Bali, I think.
Smart too. I mean, I get into my house yesterday after I get locked out. Now I can get my fingertip with KTP. This is smart home. I like it. However, I think we need to integrate some philosophy of Balinese and also the architectures. Yes. Have to say some of my Balinese friend doesn't like the intricate details of the doors and everything. The younger generation, not but I know that's probably the progression. Some of the youngsters want to go to see West. Maybe some of them resisting to it. So it still need to be seen. But what I can say, if you invest in Bali and using Balinese architectures, I think it's a winner really. Because I really like to keep my island, to have the resort and island feelings. That's what I like, and people in respecting the integrity of the surrounding.
Thank you very much. So Christian, so you've heard 2 passionate speeches here. How do you feel about this?
Well, I agree with this, and I think the market also agree on that. More and more people coming right now asking for the design, which is like before 2020, when all the people are actually trying to get properties or their properties looks like a Bali or like style in a more like Balinese style, a tropical place where. And sometimes some of them is actually looking for, why don't we make a like Bali style, like in the outside, but inside like for ultra luxury. So all the things, all the culture still remains, but with the combination of that, it makes everything become much more exclusive, better, and you feel you are in Bali. You feel you are somewhere in you enjoy you basically like enjoy understanding this and understanding the culture of Bali as well. So I think it's important. That's also many people thinks before with the ultra luxury must be like using all the digitalized. Some of the things maybe we I have a couple investor who came and asking, why don't we actually make it as it is, as traditional as it is as well sometime? Because we still want to have we want to have the sense of living in an island. You're not living in a London, right? You're not living in the skyscraper, right? So that's and the most interesting things, the occupancy rate for the villa like this is higher. So if someone want to say to me, it's like, oh no, I want to be digitalized and everything need to be, yes, go ahead, but the market is not I mean this. We work on the market. We want our money back for sure. We're trying to follow the market. Otherwise, if we fight with markets, it's different. It's difficult.
You know, so just to quickly sum, so what you're saying then, as you said, I think you said before, is that those who go the extra mile, who basically really start to how do I create something with Bali in it, right? With Bali at the DNA at the heart of it, the ROI on those properties is higher than the ones who come in and build, say, a white box.
Yes, true. And then you can see all the projects, which is they still all like accommodation, which is using ecotourism, eco design. They still remind of the. Okay, let's say if you see, I will tell one of the place called like Ulaman, for example, or Mundo Cabins. Two of that, if you see in the booking.com, it's actually very hard to get a room on that. So, and per night is actually, it's not cheap. It's 5 to 7 millions, but people still coming. It's interesting, and it's not in the heart of Canggu. It's outside. People want to see. So meaning the demand is there, and and they also luxury. Everything is inside it is luxury, but it's eco, and it's you will feel you live in Bali with that. And I think it's to respect. Respect is the word I actually need to understand. Many people, I feel a little bit sad when people came here. They invest, but they don't understand what they invest.
I have just a quick thing I want everyone to do. I invite you to do. You don't need to do it. Put your phones down, books down on the floor, right, or on your lap. Close your eyes it will take 30 seconds, no more than that. So close your eyes. Just take a breath in through your nose. Hold it out through your mouth. One more, keep your eyes closed. So in through the nose, hold it, out through the mouth. Keep your eyes closed. So I want you to think about Bali. So just picture Bali in your mind, right? You're here, so it shouldn't be that difficult. So once you have Bali in your mind, just shout it out, right? When you think of Bali, what images come into your mind? Just shout it out. Concrete. Another one? Traffic jam. Another one? I can't hear you. Rice fields. Another one? Meditation. Another. Heritage. Mountains. Rice fields. Sunset. Right? So look, outside of the concrete, which is true, like I've done this with audiences all over Bali, right? And what comes out every time is that the one set of images which has the largest frequency are those related to culture. True or true? True, right? So when you think about that, then for tonight's topic, then you begin to understand what was just said, why it's so important. So if there's one thing that you leave here with tonight, that you're property investing and you think about, well, how can I infuse more of Bali into what I'm designing, then tonight has been a success.
Well, it would help if you took some questions from the floor.
That comes later, and what would also help is if you let me run the talk show. Thank you very much indeed. All right, so next one, deal structuring. So Vigor, this one is for you. Questions will be in about 3 or 4 minutes time, by the way. Deal structuring with local landowners, right? So cultural respect or commercial risk. So part of the reason why this talk came together was because, as I said to a few people earlier on, I brought some people to you, which are friends, and from overseas. Now, that deal didn't end up happening, but you have the land, they have the cash. Much like people in this room, I suspect, is the same thing. They have the cash, they go to someone, Balinese, Indonesian, they have the land. So my question to you is, and with ego, that's a little word for you there, why didn't that deal work out? do you think, and deals like it? And how can people that want to do those deals have a greater success in doing those deals? What would you say?
Okay. Truly to say, so many people come to me. They came to me, they ask, okay, Figure, I want to lease your land. Oh, how long? 30 years? Can I pay you every 5 years? So I said, it means you lease 5 years. Another one came to me, Figure, I want to lease your land, or I want to buy your land. Okay, so how about the payment? So can I pay you within every year? Okay, so it means you lease 1 year. Another one, people came to me, Figure, I want to buy your land. Okay, I want to JV with you. I will pay you within 3 years. Okay, so truly to say, if we see, I have a lot of friends, the local landlords, the Balinese, the landowner, yeah. So, if we see, in this case, I think it's quite not fair. Yeah, I took the story based on my experience, so it's not a bullshit. Yeah. So what I see is so many, sorry to say, so many foreigners come to the locals, the landowner, and they ask soft payment. So I think in this case, what I see my friends, yeah, the people, the locals, they don't change the life. Yeah, when they lease the land, then the developer or the buyers or the lessee, they paid only 20% down payment. After that, another 6 months, 20%, another 6 months, 20%, another 6 months, 20%. So my question is, how about the landlord life? Is the money become useful? No. Actually, the money will go to the toilet, gone in the kitchen, right? Meanwhile, this new developer just arrived in Bali. They just paid down payment 10% or 20%. They design, they sell off plan. Meanwhile, the developers, they take advantage. They make a lot of profit, millions dollar profit. Meanwhile, the landlords still the poor farmer. Is it right? Is it correct? Is it fair? I don't think so. So I welcome with all of you if you want to JV or you want to invest in my projects. We build only on our freehold land, so no issue. When the people sell 30 years, I sell freehold. Yeah. So I think it's, sorry to say, it's my local thoughts. To be fair should be, because we cannot build a project without the land, right? So actually the landlord, the key, this is the key, the main key. Without land, you cannot build any projects. So how to, if you love Bali, if people love Bali, if people love the locals, loves the people, so let's do a fair way. Let's say, okay, create the project together. The landlord has the land. You create the project. Then profit sharing. The land should be paid, of course, plus profit sharing. I think that is fair. Yeah.
Sari?
Oh, it just occurred to me, you are very experienced, like, landlord. I know there is some farmer background landlord as well that not aware of this kind of tricks.
We have to educate the people.
Indeed. So I think should be a landlord association so we can share knowledge.
I think so. I talk about this.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. We are not going to be like, promises, for a return that, I think because, we have a law firm as well. So, and we have a bank as well. So I could see the potential litigation here. I mean, not not saying that expat do this.
No.
I saw Indonesian as well. When they buy
Everyone.
land, they give like a check.
Not
you
only
know?
foreigners, yeah.
So
everyone.
this is not, yeah. So it's actually the strict Indonesian on expat. However, if I don't think there's landlord association sharing information. Just at least the Badung side, I think will be good, especially from your end that you have the experience dealing with many.
Yeah.
expats.
So it's a funny today conversation in my WhatsApp group. So I'm actually a member of Kadin, Indonesian Chamber of Commerce. I'm a advisor. So it's funny. Actually, I talk like this to my friends. Yeah. Actually, the price of the land in Bali should be the most expensive in Indonesia. At least the same price with SCBD in Jakarta.
Agree.
Why? Because Bali is very unique, right? Bali is a magnet for every people around the world. Meanwhile, we have very limited land. Yeah. The creator stop. He will not create any more land. So we have very limited, but international market, very big market. And what I observed in these last few years, so many people just arrive in Bali then, because tourism in Bali is very sweet. Yeah, tourism in Bali is very sweet. So everyone want to dig dollars, want to get dollars from our tourism. Starting from accommodation, motorcycle and everything. So I think, we are the local always welcome to everyone from any countries. Yeah.
Hey Robert, I reckon you've got.
Please, Christian.
I reckon you've got the point now to ask questions.
Christian, yeah. Listen, mate. I'm going to say this on camera. If you're not going to be quiet, just leave. Okay. Thank you, Christian. What's your view on what you've just heard? Thank you.
Well, I think I'm somewhat agree in this conversation about the land. Land is actually supposed to be belong to people from Bali first, and also land in here is supposed to be the price will be the price Bali is always increased, and I think it will be there. But it's again, if we want to actually make these things become unique and still remain, we need to actually work together as a communities. People in here who want to make a business supposed to be collaborate with local partners. So I think all the people who want to already make a business, they would love and they have an eagerness to live in Bali longer. They're not going to stay only like 1 year or 2 years and then go. They would like to stay here for long. And if that's the case, then you're supposed to actually first become having a good relation with locals, understanding their cultures respectfully, and do some things which is help and collaborate with them to make the locals also become more educated. If you understand in the market in a financial way, for example, why not you actually do it together with the local who probably not as smart as the peoples. So it's sharing. So what I'm saying, when you do that, I think Bali will be coming back in somewhat, because I really believe in karma. Karma here is really real, and I think when you do that with your business will stay long, and the local will support you as well. Because I think the first thing, many big developer here, they actually somewhat they kind of feel Indonesia it can be bought, but at the same time, if you not get any support from the local, for the people in here, at the end of the day, you're not going to stay last. You're not going to stay long. You will be out of the business after like 10 years. It just remain of time. So if you wanna, you can actually speak with all the bule, all the foreigner who came here more than 10 years. They came here and have a business with locals, and they have very successful, and it's keep developing. You can name it. Many business like Finns is one of them who actually doing it right with locals, and then I think that's something what people need to understand. If you actually just think, oh, everything about myself, I want to create everything for me and then only for profit only, without actually helping the locals around it. It's just a matter of time.
Thank you. Okay, so what we got a microphone here, and just want to remind people, right? So tonight's episode is not about us, right? It's about three people here speaking their mind. So for that reason, I will let it go for as long as I feel it needs to, so they can get their voice across. And again, as a expat married to an Indonesian, this is not about beating up the expats or beating up the Indonesians. No, it's about, a group of people that rarely get to be heard. Because culturally, if I can go this far, culturally, if anyone who's been here for some time understands that Indonesian culture, in general, especially here in Bali, it isn't about raising and speaking in this way to foreigners, to guests. It's not about that, right? Most of the time, it's just being very kind and very nice and very kind and very nice whilst things are happening, which is not cool, right? So if there are three people here, and I really honor you, Sari, Vigor, and Christian, who are able to speak their mind in a way that we all understand, to me, it's been a success, all right? So again, and as Christian just said, it's about integration and understanding, right? And if you can come here with that open mindset, open heart, with clear intention to work together, magic happens, right? When you don't, other things happen, right? So if you do have any questions, please raise your hand and we'll get the microphone to you. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've been coming to Bali since 2010, and me and people I know who've been here for a longer time, we are a bit disturbed by the development of too many buildings. And in my job, my job is in my work to find always the root cause of the problem. And I feel you already mentioned one of the root causes is like anyone who I speak with wants to make money here. Everyone who comes here wants to invest or has already invested. What do you think why the people who are coming here are not just coming and enjoying Bali, but want to make money here?
Great. So now with these questions, what will also be very helpful, Christian, analyst, Vigor has land looking to develop, Sari comes from that legal perspective as well as a Balinese one. So feel free to direct your question at any one person. So for this, I'll probably go for you, Christian. Start with you.
Well, thank you for the question. Well, the people, when they see again, this is misunderstanding and misadvertisements in terms of the ROI. People actually, many buyers and investors who actually buy the villas in Bali or buy the property, sometimes they not came, they just based on trust, based on the advertisement, based on the ROI which they got, and the showing track record, and then they bought the villa without understand or buy the property by hoping it will be break-even point after 4 years, for example, and then you can resell the products after 4 years. So you go break even and then you go resell, and then by assuming they will be able to get 25 to 35% gain on top of that. So basically you will ROI 100% with the gain 25%, 125% after 4 years, 5 years. I think people will love that. So that's the reason why first is come up, and why people came to Bali, because they see a lot of developments and they start feeling the greediness. People come because they are greedy. They start feeling, oh, you know what? I just want to make and compete with that. But they don't, because greedy, you don't use sense. Sense, you need to understand. If somebody success on that, why don't you actually think about facility? For example, people want to have activity. Why don't you build like a proper cinema, for example, or some things to make people feels comfortable living in the area of this? Why, or onsen, for example, why people in here is just actually just thinking one way, very narrow, because what? Because people greedy, and they see and believe on that. That's the reason why people actually have that kind of situation, and make right now the market is oversupply on. It's not overdeveloped. Far from overdeveloped. It's actually oversupply. Only oversupply. And it's, for me, when I see this, it's pretty much similar with the .com bubble. If you know in finance there is a .com bubble, well, all the startup people actually build some things and only remain, and after that they crash, and then only a couple property will only remain stand when they have the money and they have the proper understanding about the market. And yeah, that's where I'm from.
Thank you very much. Anyone want to add to that? Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question. Why, I wonder myself, why everyone come to Bali, then everyone wants to invest in property and want to get the money from the tourism, want to rent the villas, Airbnb and everything. Yeah. I wonder myself.
I think it's because eat and pray love effect. I think started with that.
Yeah, Bu Sari. So actually,
do you think?
May I talk about the history a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We.
If I can imagine, I came to Bali in 1986 when I was 21 years old. So that time, just Kuta and Legian. Yeah, Kuta Legian, right? Even Legian is just some shops, then coconut trees, some shop coconut trees, and still we can smell the sea breeze. I could smell the island atmosphere, yeah, you know what I mean. But now, even now we live in Brawa, it's only 1 km to the beach. Can we smell the sea breeze?
Can you hear the wave?
Now even could not.
Could not, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, many years ago, let's say 2020, still I could hear the wave from my joglo, but now could not. Yeah, many concrete. So actually, like this is the story, Robert. Yeah, if I can imagine, the tourism in Bali starting from, I think, homestay. So as we know that Indonesian colonized by Dutch for 350 years. So actually Bali is very famous since long time ago. Even Mick Jagger, Rolling Stones would like to buy Bali, right? We have ever heard about that.
I still remember Mick Jagger villa.
Yeah.
My dad built that
so
as well.
actually, long time ago, the tourists came to Bali and they stay at homestay. Who owns the homestay? The local Balinese homes become a homestays. Then starting tourism, it's about tourism long time ago. Then for the local who had money, they build lodgement. When I came to Bali in 1986, it's famous beach lodging. Lodgement, beach lodging, owned by the local Balinese. They own the land already. So for the people who had more capital, they build hotel. Then starting Jakarta people they have more money. They came to Bali, they build hotels, right?
I remember
starting Sahid and everything on the beach, Bali Intan and everything. Yeah, Bali Intan is the pioneer in Seminyak. Only one hotel. Yeah, others just rice field. So actually, thanks God, God give the locals, especially Balinese, this cake. Tourism. Then Bali become more famous. I remember 2002 bomb blasting one. The first bomb blasting, it was 2002, October 2002. Then before that, still many people around the world, they didn't know Bali. But since the first bomb blasting, then every news around the world talking about bomb blasting in Bali. Then Bali become so famous around the world. Then a bomb blasting 2005 also it happened. But there's also a blessing. Yeah. Why? Bali became more famous. Long time ago, many people, they don't know Bali. They know they know Bali, they don't know Indonesia. Yeah. So I mean, truly to say, actually, tourism is a cake. It's a thanks God, a blessing for the Balinese, for the locals. But I wonder now, why everyone just arrive in Bali and they want to dig tourism money? There is no problem at all. But why everyone just thinking about accommodation? Yeah. Actually, there are a lot of other industries, yeah, correlated with tourism.
Yeah, 1 second, mate. We got a question here, and then we'll give you the microphone. Yeah.
Okay, it's a couple of questions, but one, the 8% just seems very, very low considering you have a lot of expenses, ongoing maintenance. So 8% ROI per year doesn't really seem like a great investment. The couple of questions I had was the buildings that's currently going up. Are you targeting just tourists or just expats, or are you building for Indonesians? So all these buildings I see going up, are they for expats or are they for Indonesians?
Your question for
maybe
me?
we'll give it. Could you had a long answer before? We'll go Christian, then we're going to go Sari. Just so we keep it equal. Yeah.
I think if based on the trend and the forecasting, actually, if you would like to actually have a business in Bali, and also, I think it's better you prepare for long-term stay. I think that's where you're supposed to go. For example, like 3 to 5 bedrooms. There's not many actually in the market. And people want to live on that, and then the return on that, it's and people want to stay a long stay on that, and I think you can actually see when you came to the markets Airbnb for that kind of accommodation, they're almost always in demand, and I think if that's the case. You can actually get your ROI for sure, and also the 8% is actually mostly for the apartments and hotels things. But if you actually come for the ecotourism, again, it's something unique projects, which is using bamboo, using all it's eco-friendly stuff. It will attract more people to do that, to stay. So this is the uniqueness about Bali. Actually, I'm surprised because for me, when I see the project itself, I came. Wow, it's beautiful. But if I'm actually staying this for 7 million per night, I don't think I'm going to spend like more than 2 days, for example. But when I asked the owner was say they opened me the book of that. The occupancy rate is 85 to 90%. So meaning my kind of, it's no longer it's based on the data. That kind of thing is actually. People want that. The tourists is actually looking for that. So meaning, the sense of the people, why people came to Bali, because they want to feel the island, they want to see the nature, and because of they see that they want to, their willingness to actually spend is there. So it's not about Bali people is not going to spend spend that money. There is certain tourists who's actually want to spend that much money, and especially if you actually hit the spot of that what I told you, and also luxury business also still there. So meaning everything is still here. It's like back to the before 2020 what I say, because Bali is not cheap. Bali always never cheap. I'm surprised when someone told me like Bali is cheap. Bali is not cheap. Since I'm actually coming here as a young guy in 2016, what I spend in here is more than double or triple than actually spend in Jakarta.
So what we're going to do? Sorry, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I think I have the answer for you. Is why property? Because I don't know whether you have heard this before, but property is the easiest business, isn't it? To rent a property is the easiest business, I think.
Yeah.
So it is, but what I want to do is I want to focus on the question. So what we're going to do, we're going to keep the answers to 1 minute. Okay, so you had 2 more questions, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the second one and the main one is, where do you see the Bali property market in the next 20 years?
Okay, 1 minute. Who wants it?
Okay, what I see is Bali property market still happening. If I see now, I see that long time ago the people come to Bali mostly tourists, and now more expat. Yeah, more people wants to live in Bali. Of course, we understand that if you live in Bali, so of course also we are thinking about how to get the money. Yeah, for living costs and everything. So more people now around the world want to live in Bali. They want to move, starting from Ukraine, from the war. Yeah, we know that our brothers from our and sisters from Russian and from Ukraine moved to Bali a lot, huge numbers. They need accommodation, right? So this opportunity grabbed by the Russian developers. They speak Russian. So yeah, we know some big developers, Russian big developers. Just 3 years, these last 3 years, right? They can build because they have the market. Yeah, but also sorry to say, it's destroy the Balinese vibes. Yeah. So regarding the market, if I see, it's promising. But we have to be careful how to build Bali with respect, with heart, with love. Collaborate with the locals and everything. Yeah.
Thank you. Next question. Yeah.
Kind of to piggyback on your conversation earlier in terms of how deals were structured. So from my understanding, it's not a lot of profit sharing going on. A lot of landowners done sold their land for an upfront payment. With that being the case, if they sold their land for 20 years or 30 years, I'm pretty sure that money might run out before the 20 or 30 years, right? So my thought process is, you don't have land to grow food on, right? So then now potentially poverty is increasing because the government is not providing retirement funds. And then my thought process is poverty increase, crime increase, and other things along that nature. So my question is, 20 years, 30 years down the line, what impact do you foresee with landowners selling their land, their family land?
Sari.
Great question.
Yeah, I have seen actually the life cycles when I was still in elementary school. They sell the lands and they buy the cars and everything. And then it ran out within 5 years. So I think nowadays the landowner in Bali have seen the lessons before, and they want to lease it now, the land, and to make sure the continuity after 25, 30 years. They want to always maintain good relationship with the one who leased the land as well. And also it's important for the one who leased the land to maintain a good relationship, because when you want to extend, if you don't have that good relationship, whatever money you put, you will not get it extended. For example, you still have only 5 years and you want to extend another 10 years, so you have 15 years, so you can sell it again. But if you don't maintain good relationship, they will say no. We have seen that plenty happening in around Badung area. I can only say in the Badung area. So back to the Trihita Karana again, I would say Bali have learned the lessons, and the future, I think, is bright for me, because we want to have people who respecting our culture, our land, and our heritage.
Respect. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. One question, mate.
I know.
You've been so disruptive today. Honestly, embarrassing. One question?
So you don't want me to ask a question?
One question, please.
So can I ask a question?
One question.
Just say yes.
So what I'm curious about is this thing about it's been mentioned a couple of times about how Bali's needs to be timeless, right? And we've heard this thing about the white Mediterranean style, that rentals have dropped to 6 to 8%, which I've felt myself, by the way. And so I guess my question is for the people in this room. I'm not looking to buy myself, by the way, but it's a little bit scary, isn't it, when rentals are falling off a cliff, but so many punters out there are trying to sell, like the Canggu fund, for example. They're trying to sell like a 6-year return, get your money back. What would you say, the panel, what would you say to people in this room, based on everything that we've learned tonight, what would you say to those people? Should we buy or should we not?
Thanks for the question. So who wants to, Christian, you want to start with that one? Yeah.
Actually, again, since I am actually talking in the beginning, I always think due diligence is one of the first things you should do. You should understand the markets. When you buy an investment, it feels like when you buy stock, you need to understand the situation of that company first, right? Same thing. If you came to this kind of investment, you should do the same things, due diligence, using the right. Is this developers actually using the right legals? Is it actually they have the track record, how they can show the track records? And then after that, is that make sense? And the fourth things you should ask yourself, is this for you? And because why? Because at the end of the day, after you got all of it, it's about your kind of your risk tolerance. Everyone have a risk tolerance, and I believe big gain always have a risk. So I think I'm not going to say yes or no, because it's about investments. Even a hedge funds will tell you this is what it is. If you say okay, you sign it. If it not, it's your perspective. You should do. Every investor need to do the due diligence before you step into this business.
Thank you. Next question, and Terry, you got a question as well, right? At the back? Yeah, cool. We'll get the mic to him after you. Yeah. Thanks, John.
So, first of all, thank you, Robert, to bringing this beautiful guest, Sari, Vigor, and Christian, to this discussion. And thank you to Bali that I am here, basically, which I came from 2017, because I don't feel I belong in Europe. And the Indonesia show me that, or Indonesia make me leave finally. But already 6 years I moved to Lombok. And why? Because every year I was here, I was missing more and more vibes. And from after COVID, I don't feel Bali anymore, it's Indonesia. I'm talking in my personal feeling, right? Because I'm pretty sensitive person, so sometimes I cannot explain like exactly like a lawyer. Yeah, I can just what I feel, but I feel Bali is no more Indonesia, right? In a mainly part, of course, if we go maybe to the north, to the east, for sure, but like a mainly part where more people go. And my question to this is if you think it's sustainable, because many times comes here question from you guys like why you came to Bali. So I came to Bali to find me, to change my life, but now I feel I can be in Europe, it's almost the same. And if you think like this can change a little bit to go back to the Bali vibe, right? And for sure, like you were talking about the architecture, like all of these things, but what do you think needs to change that the Bali is back, so people who want to respect this kind of Indonesian feeling will find the ticket to the Denpasar, not people who came with a big bag of money. That's the one thing. Second thing is about these developers, maybe for Christian, that in Lombok, we have a big boom of the development. If you come to the developers and you ask them about the social projects, because I come from social area, I do social projects 8 years, so this is my first question. If people ask, I want to invest in Indonesia, my first question is, what you gonna bring to the Indonesia if we don't talk about money? What Indonesia gain from you, right? And in Lombok, I would say 80% of the projects, they start with CSR. They start to building the schools. They start to taking about the trash. They start to think how I can help. The last 2 months, I was here in Canggu searching for property worth 1.5 million. I was actually with Sari as well. I visit maybe 20 real estate. One real estate answer my question when I ask them what you do for the local people. 1 out of 20. 19 was looking like me, like, what am I asking? Right? So it's not just the bule, it's as well on the side of maybe Bali developers thinking about the money. And the last thing is, you mentioned, I truly understand about the farmers, and when they, for example, get a lease for 50 years, 30 years, 20 years, that the developers try to give them some small money, and then in 1 year I give you one more. But now when I do the research in Sumba Island, for example, for the investors, you know what is the biggest problem? If local people get money on one time. Because they have no clue how to work with the finance. So the biggest notary in Sumba told me, in 2-3 months, all the money is gone and they have nothing. So that's why now we're creating a social pension where the local people will get money every month. Their children will send to the school. They will have an approach to the water and a food, because in Sumba is lack of the water. So this is just my flip coin point of view on the side. If the local farmer, especially farmer, probably you, Vigor, you are very smart and intelligent and you know how to work with money. You were selling the Harleys.
I'm going to bring you to the, because we just we're getting to the close. I love what you had to say. So there were 3 questions there. One was to Sari, which was about how can Bali get back, how can Bali get back to the spirit that he was talking about. Another one was about you, Vigor, twisting it around that to Terry at the back, twisting it around to you, and was asking about, yes, it's good that, Balis get one lump sum, but the problem in Lombok is that they get one lump sum, 2 or 3 months later the money is gone. So how is it that we can create a way, which he's done, to keep that money, legacy money, doing the right things, right? And then to you, Christian, it was about the return. That bit I've forgotten. But we'll get there. What we do, Chris?
It was about the developers.
The developers. Thank you.
And the social thinking as well.
Okay, so let's go one by one. We'll start with you, Sari, then we'll go to Vigor, then we'll go to Christian.
I guess everyone want to have a piece of Bali, not only from the expat, but also Indonesia. Indonesian also want to have this Bali piece because Bali is quite tolerant. I mean, for a woman, we can have like a bit short skirt. If we have that in Java, we cannot have that. So it's good for you to ask about sustainability because Bali is becoming popular. Is it sustainable or not? However, again, I think we need to distinguish Bali, say UK again, and then Badung is being London, because there is other parts of Bali that also want to actually have those prosperity, like for example in Sidemen, you say like some of these like very expensive villas. Why not spread the investment development, just not only looking the obvious in the south, but around Bali too, and create legacy like in Sidemen or other places from bamboo, but you can be world class, have authenticity, have something different. Now, about going east to Indonesia is exciting because I think, I might be biased, Robert, but I think Indonesia is the last frontier in the world. Do you agree or not?
In many ways, yes.
Yeah, I mean, in Indonesia, we have 13,000 islands. I mean, we have the Sea Gypsy, and then we have the Komodo dragons. So, explore Indonesia, go east, find your paradise, and spread this prosperity. And also, spread the understanding of the world. You know, we are just people, part of this earth, you know, respecting each other, going back to that paradox of, you know, take and give and being respectful. I'll say that. I'll say.
Thank you. Vigor. So if you're going to try and keep it to 1 minute and a half.
Okay, so
right?
My suggestion is if we love the locals and we want to live in Bali or Indonesia for a long time or maybe forever. So of course we want our neighborhood, the locals also getting better quality of life, right? So I think, why don't we offer profit sharing? So, yeah, I think profit sharing will be great. Yeah.
So not one lump sum, but profit sharing. So you're getting it all the way.
Yeah.
Lump sum and profit sharing.
It's hard to say, Robert, because yeah. Lump sum, so the owner will get very small money. Still, the money will go into the toilet, gone in the kitchen. So the best way is one payment plus profit sharing.
Okay.
On the landlord, on also as a shareholder too.
Got it. You've answered the question.
If we want to build Indonesia. If you really love Indonesia.
Brother Vigor, you've answered the question. Pass it to Cristiano. All right. Otherwise, they've got 2 more to go, and I've got the one last question for all of you. So over to you, Christian.
So
1 minute and a half.
You are asking about CSR. Why is people in here doesn't do the CSR for that, right? I think because there are some there are one developer who actually do a CSR as their advertisement to create the brand awareness. Others actually they don't really do that because they use they already have a segmented. I understand this is pretty different where the one in Sumba, because where the CSR is actually going to, it's a lot of it's easier to catch in the brand awareness, easier to actually make your products become it's appear from many other developers. That's actually the reason. Maybe that's actually people should do more on that. But then here they already in Bali, because Bali already famous. People came here, they know Bali's for a long time. That's also the reason why they don't do that things, because they just feels like I can just build and then get right away the benefit, if you say in that. And lastly, I actually trying to, when it's come to the developer, I try to push the developer who I know to actually trying to treat it as the way how in the mining industry in Indonesia, when there is a mining industry, because I used to work in mining industry before, and finance there, they actually create an obligation for the our government may create an obligation for the miners to actually make a CSR to their area where they actually do the mining. I think if it actually from the government side push the developers to do that, maybe can happen that way too, because CSR is there, but it's not in the real estate industry yet.
Okay, thank you. Okay, out the back, fellas, over to you.
Thank you. I'll ask 3 quick questions to all of you. Christian, thank you for exposing the what I would call totally fake promotions on extremely high ROIs, and I think we all agree that if we are in compliance and pay our taxes, the 6 to 8, maybe 12% is actually the truth. What do you see that we can do? Because in my country, if you promoted 42% on a billboard along the road, or you said you were growing quicker than Uber, based on your own assessment, you'd be arrested. But in here, there is no enforcement of that kind of marketing, and what we can do to sort of get some consent on that. Two more, really quick.
But we'll do one at a time. So, Christian, you can answer that question now, right? So you need a microphone, though. All right, and then we're going to go after that. Yeah, you got the question, yeah?
No, I haven't. Sorry.
Did you get the question?
How do we get rid of all this fake promotion on, the government needs to regulate this? What you can say, like in abroad, if you want to say 8%, 7%, you need to actually have data saying that, like real tangible data.
The reason thank you for the question. It's actually a part of our works as a community. This kind of talk hopefully can bring further, not only just like this talk, only a discussion, but it can be helped because we still need our government to actually to regulate that. False advertisement is actually one of it. I think false advertisement can be bring to the legal side. If you put it in a criminal law, it can be as scamming. That actually it can be redirected to that area, but because of again this false advertisements really will reworking, because many people who invest in here, they don't actually do their research on the legal properly. They don't ask the PPIT. I mean, like the people who are in the legal side, the notary side. How is this investment supposed to work in Indonesia? Yeah. And then if it actually they do this due diligence properly, this wouldn't have happened. And I think at the same time, more and more people right now understanding if this kind of return, it's not doable, it's not suitable. I think that's because so many cases in Bali already about this situation, and it will be a lot coming up more in the futures.
Thank you, Christian. Question number 2, Terry, and to who?
Sari first. I think that up to maybe just before COVID, 80% of investors would do an HCB or a hakpakke or an HDB on top of freehold, which to me is lease. During COVID and now coming out of COVID, 80% is lease, hak sewa. And I think that when do we address that elephant in the room, and I say this openly, hak sewa, lease, should not exist as a long-term legal structure. It should be a HGB on top of freehold, it should be a hakpakke, because right away then BPN comes into the picture. So zoning kicks in, qualifications, you need to have a PMA, and all this, waffle that as a private person you can have a commercial lease as an expat. You cannot. What can we do to get the government to enforce that? And in general, your view maybe.
Well, yes, there is the trend during the COVID. The lease is becoming popular. What people doesn't realize, when they have PTPMA, they can have HGB, or if you have KITAS or KITAP, you can have hakpakke. Right to use, and you need to use that. There is certain requirement for that. I agree with Pak TRJ that lease shouldn't be popular. I think we can speak to government actually to use HGB, because then government will know about this transaction as well. And also in terms of litigations, if for example you pass down that lease to your kids and everything, there is other third party like a landlord and their family as well. So it's best to have it as HGB. If you have a lease, for example, now, try to talk to the landlord if they want to sell it or as HGB or hakpakke. I think that's the solution. And have the conversation, maintain contact. You never know, down the line they want to change that.
So there are probably 2 terms that people have no idea what they are, and hakpakke. And so if you can just quickly define what those 2 terms are, just for people here in the audience, I think we lost them.
Yes, the hakpakke right to use, when you have kitas or kitab, we can have one. And HGB is right to build. When you have PTPMA, then you can have many properties, and then there is no requirement like hak pakai, which is up to 5 billion in Badung, in Bali. For the lease, it's up to 25 years. Some people actually, the reason why I choose the lease, maybe because location, and they say, well, after 25 years, I don't really mind. So it's depending what's investor motivation here. So I'll also ask my client, if you want to have a break even, and yes, choose the location always. So depending if you want to live this and pass it down to your kids and everything, maybe get hak pakai or HGB. But honestly, if you can have hak pakai HGB, explore that opportunity.
Thank you. Third question to Vigor.
Yeah, to Vigor, I've seen some of your amazing drawings and some of your projects, and it seemed to me in the messages that we have that you focus this to a high-end luxury residential, semi-residential concept. And I'm sure, as someone was saying, you're a smart businessman, and I know you are. What the thought is behind that? Because I agree, residential tourism, I think Christian touched on that too, the long-term rental is definitely the way to go in any and all aspects, impact, sustainability, traffic, and so on. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think it's very important to build the quality, even the quality of tourism, or even the quality of lifestyle. Yeah, so we focus to build luxury, tropical, modern, with big open air, something like that. You mean like that, Paterje, or what? Yeah? Okay. So I think it's very important to build something beautiful in Bali. Yeah, we don't need to be too greedy to build 100% of the land size. I want to build everything. Yeah, not open air, no garden at all, no parking space and everything. Yeah, so how we respect, how to keep Bali as beauty as before, forever. This is our responsibility for everyone. Yeah, even you build your own villa or you build your villa for business, yeah, I think that's very important.
Thank you. Now, Mark, you have any question or you're good? Oh, we got one more over here. Yeah, just great. Hello, brother. Good to see you, Randy.
Hi, Rob. Thank you. So, basically, I'm from Jakarta, South Jakarta, actually, and then. My question is for Christian. As a business development, and then you say that, okay, living costs in Bali is more expensive in Jakarta, right? And then you say that about the ecotourism, and you say about the Mundo. So, what is your parameter to say that living costs in Bali, right, is more expensive from Jakarta? And the second one, what is the plus and minus for the ecotourism that you say that the ROI will different with the others architectural design, right? And how you see, and then I also heard about the greedy things, right? And then, do you know about history of Bali itself? How Bali founded? It's founded basically by foreigners, right? And I agree with the Mr. and the green one. Yeah, because yes, if you say the comparable between Jakarta and Bali people, yes, of course, the education is different, but I'm glad that foreigners came to Bali and then, teach something. So that's the synergy that we have to own to the Bali. So not the negativity that always be sound about? Because right now, the media social is always talking about negativity about Bali. I've been in Bali since 90s, and I remember when I go to Bali and then I put my bike in Kuta and leave my motorbike key. When I go back, it's there. That's the Bali. That's the original Bali. And then I want to ask you about your parameters, your variables about your research and analysis. And please, I learn from you.
Thanks, Randy. You got that?
Yeah, I got it. I would say this is especially in Canggu only, because not in the whole Bali. It's actually in Canggu. If you go to the Margaret restaurant, for example, if you go to any restaurant close to Brawa and Canggu area, I think the price in there is actually more expensive because I work with Russian, and I know most of them is actually trying to bring the value up by the service is also high as well. That's the reason why the price it's a lot more expensive.
It's in Canggu, right?
It's Canggu, yeah.
But for Jakarta people, have you mapping the region in each Bali? Canggu, go to Seminyak, to Hukum, right? The big, the mapping, how you differentiation, because it's a tourist attraction.
All right. So look, we're getting quite long with this one.
Sorry.
So Randy, we'll continue that conversation after.
Right?
It's a great point that you've made. So Christian, if you just answer what's in front of you, then we'll go to the last question, and then we can let everyone speak together.
Oh, may I answer? Yeah. Okay. Actually, I live in Bali, in Jakarta too before. 2010 up to 2015. So I live in Jakarta Selatan, Kebayoran Lama. So actually, sorry to say, Christian, I don't agree with you. Actually, Jakarta is more expensive than Bali.
Agrees, Mr.
That's the answer. Okay. All right. So, everyone here, been a very long session today. I knew it was going to be long, but I don't know how long it's going to be. I just want to thank everybody here who's come, especially a man from Lombok over there. Really appreciate you, brother. And look, so what we're going to do is two things. I've got one last question, which I'm going to ask the panel to keep to 1 minute. Okay, so a 1 minute response to the question I'm going to leave you in a minute, right? After that, we're going to take a photo of us four. Guzman will take that photo. Then we're going to get everyone here who's left to come up. We'll grab a group shot together. Then after that, you're welcome to have a chat, network between yourselves, I'm sure, in the beginning. And come across people that you say, you know what, I want to spend more time with that person. I want to speak to that person. They may be sitting here, or they may be sitting next to you, or behind you, or in front of you in the audience. Please take this time to have that conversation. I know tonight has been a long session, but I stand by it because, again, it's been about this, right? Bali's real estate market and Indonesian perspective. And what we've had tonight is a wonderful Nilu Sari, Balinese, born here. We'll go to the applause after. Powerful lady, law firm, intricately connected to Bali, and also has an understanding of what happens overseas internationally. We have Vigor, who's come from a successful line of business, married to Balinese from Jakarta, a number of businesses, as I mentioned, who's land banking and is now coming saying, right, I am now ready to enter into a JV. It may be with one of you here. It may be with someone who's watching either on Instagram Live, YouTube Live, or Facebook Live.
Yes, welcome. Yeah.
All right.
For Bali, Lombok, Sumba, Labuan Bajo. Yeah.
There you go, right? So we have that as well. And then also we have Christian, who's a property analyst who was working with one of the largest developers here in Bali for some time, so understands that market and has now been recruited, headhunted, or accepted a role with one of the most respected villa companies here in Bali and beyond, right? So these are the panel that you've had here tonight. Please feel free to connect with them and so on, because they are wonderful people as well. Now, the last question I'm going to give you all 1 minute each, okay? And when we'll keep it very short on that, is so we've spoken tonight about, again, the property market, the challenges, the perspective of you here, which I really, truly and utterly respect. Because I don't think Indonesians, just personal opinion, speak enough about this here. I haven't seen, apart from one person who's in politics, I won't mention her name, who has really spoken out against this, or spoken out their opinion at the very least. So I honor and respect and cherish all three of you for doing that. The final question I'm going to give to you, 1 minute each, you're going to have about a minute to answer, well, after I finish wrapping up, is the future of Bali. So a few people here mentioned about, how do we get back the old Bali, right? Personally, and I don't want to put too much on this, I think going backwards, is not an option, personally. I feel that the future going forward is a future where people can work together to maintain, sustain, and preserve Balinese culture within buildings and spaces and places. But that's my opinion. So what is your opinion when it comes to that, and what one thing, if the government were watching this now, what one thing could they do to invite that future in? All right, make sense? One thing they can do to invite that future in. So I'll give you 30 seconds to think about that. So as you know, we're here every Monday. There's a QR code at the back there where you can join the WhatsApp group. Happy to have you in there. Make sure as well you connect with each other. Tropical Nomad is open 24 hours a day. You're welcome to stay. And look, again, I honor, respect, and thank you. Usually we go for an hour to an hour and a half. Tonight's been longer, I'm sure. I have no idea how long it's been. Appreciate you taking the time and energy to be here, which is showing us how much you love and respect Bali. So thank you very much. A round of applause for yourselves. Let's go. A round of applause for yourselves. There they are. Brother Guzman, Tropical Nomad, our technical partner. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you so much. And a round of applause for our guests, Christian, Vigor, and Nilu. A round of applause for them. Okay, so in reverse order, Christian, you first, followed by Vigor, and followed finally by Sari.
I don't think 1 minute is enough.
All right, one minute and a half. Okay.
No, it's okay.
Come on, you can do it. Over to you.
What the government needs to do for this.
If you believe that the future is one like this, we can't go backwards. Up to you.
If I believe this, I think Bali will be Bali will always be here, and I think Bali will always giving attraction to many different tourists from many different nations. It's just changing. The people who live here it changed over the years. The people who came here is all changed over. The people who came here is always changed over the years. Right now, the people from Middle East start coming into Bali, and I think before is Russia, right now is Middle East. So meaning everything will be always, Bali will be always popular. Bali always good for investment, and for the futures, if the government want to actually make a change, I think Bali is supposed to have special zone, which is actually can make their own decision. It's not as perhaps like Yogyakarta area, because we have Bali have different things, different culture, different everything's, and I think the people who can make the right decisions is the Bali government itself, not Jakarta, because other than that, everything's in here need to be followed by Jakarta law, and it's very difficult to comply with what's going on in Bali. So I think that's...
Thank you, Christian. Difficult question, I know, but you did well for a minute and a half. Vigor, 1 minute and a half, okay?
Okay, thanks. I still believe with the future of Bali. Yeah. So if I can imagine, if I see that, now it's just stretching even in the spot, just warming up. Listen to me. Bali is just still warming up. How long Europe? How long have been already? 1,000 years? Yeah. So Bali is still new. It's a new destination. Less than 100 years for tourism, right? still new. So the future is still very bright. So now the most important for the people around the world who wants to live in Bali or who wants to do business in Bali. So be respect with Bali, be respect with the land, with the respect with the locals. Yeah, and I hope all of you guys from developed country can bring also education, bring the positive benefits for the locals. Yeah, that's my hope. If we can collaborate harmony, oh, for sure, Bali is the best. Will be still the best.
Thank you, Brother Vigor.
Yeah, it's interesting Christian mentioned about Yogyakarta actually, that what we can learn also from different regions. As Yogyakarta, there is moratorium actually in the central for hotel. And in Bali, I think in Lombok, in what do you call that, the Gilis Island, also there is moratorium too. So we can learn from the lesson from other region. Bali has a lot of hate that also misses too. But we learn, and I'm confident the future is great. If my message to the government is actually go back to the Balinese town planning. You see, because Bali have our own town planning, like where is the ground zero, the temple, where is the kingdom, where is the market. That's why no one actually Balinese actually live on the beach. Because Balinese doesn't live on the beach. I still remember in here, Batu Belik, there is a villa, old villa. Maybe some of these know Villa Kakak Tua. Like, yeah, I was still elementary school when my dad built that villa. So I said, Dad, why anyone want to live in the middle of nowhere? Well, he said, well, not us, for sure. So, there is the philosophy why everything is where, call it like the feng shui of the city town planning. I really miss my dad. If my dad's here, he can be my encyclopedia and compendium of architect and all this value. So if the government actually look back to our history, dig in there, that's from thousands of years, not only architecture, but also how we live and how we organize ourselves. That's what my message.
Thank you very much. A round of applause, everybody. Christian Vigor, Neil Sari. Thank you. See you next week.